But this week is the week of romance and murder, and I am very happy with that combination, especially. Hello my loves, and thank you for joining me. It's Kirsten and we're at the start of another weekly reading vlog, and this week I'm going on holiday and I'm so excited. I actually fly out tomorrow evening. We've got a night flight, so you're probably not going to get another update until Tuesday at the earliest, once we've kind of settled in at the hotel. We are going off to the Maldives, which I am very excited about, and I just think it's going to be fantastic. So I wanted to do this intro bit in talking about the different books that I'm going to be bringing with me. All I plan on doing on this holiday is snorkeling, because we can do that every day, and reading. That's it. That's literally all I plan on doing across this holiday. I'm away for 7 nights and it's going to be amazing. But the way this vlog's going to be structured is I'm kind of thinking to obviously start it now and then do my usual, finishing it on like Sunday or something on the following Sunday. But that means that I will still be in the Maldives for like the last couple of days of next week's vlog, just because in terms of editing it, that will be a bit easier, I think. I don't know, we'll see how it goes. It will end up being as long as it ends up being. Planning to update, but it will mainly be focused around the books that I'm reading, and you'll just get b-roll of different things that I get up to on the holiday probably, but it's just going to be super chill is the plan. But okay, right, reading. Let's talk about the reading plans that I've got, because I did actually start one of the books that I want to read this week last night. Only just started it though, and that is A Demon's Guide to Wooing a Witch by Sarah Hawley. Now this is actually a second book in a series, and I have not read the first book because I picked this one up thrifted. Yeah, you know what? I should have read that first book first. However, because this is a romance series, I don't care if I read them out of order because we're following different couples in each book. And it's a romance, so you know how it's going to end. You know that they're going to end up together. That's the whole point of the book. So I actually do not care if I get spoiled for a romance book, because it just doesn't bother me. It's slightly different for one of the books I'm going to be bringing on holiday, because that has a continual plot line and each book is not following a different couple. But the way this is structured is every book is following a different couple. So I'm very happy to be reading this out of order. It doesn't bother me. However, I am up to chapter 4, page 38, and I will say those first 3 chapters you do get spoiled for the end of the first book. So if you would rather not do that, then I would recommend reading the other book first, which is A Witch's Guide to Fake Dating a Demon. We're getting to know how our 2 characters met each other, which they only met each other 12 hours ago at the end of that first book. So you've only really got like a brief overview of how they've met. One of our main characters, Caladia, she hates the demon in this, which is Astaroth, and we get the reason why she hates him. She herself is a very fiery character. She gets in trouble for being in a lot of fights, and she is a witch. Where I've got to, she has just saved Astaroth, and she didn't mean to, she didn't realise it, she just heard somebody getting beat up and she was like, right, I'm putting a stop to this, got herself involved, and then realised afterwards, oh, you're the demon that I hate, that I literally just had a scuffle with 12 hours ago. And Astaroth has no clue. He has no idea, because the first chapter that you get in this, we're following Astaroth's perspective, so it's dual POV in this book. He is banished from the demon realm into the human world, and his memories have been taken away. So he has no idea where he is, who Caladia is, why she hates him. He's got no idea, and he's just baffled. But this book is really funny. It's got a really nice humorous tone to the writing style, which I really like. It's going to be a spicy, steamy time. You can tell that already, which I am not mad about. Definitely a series to be reading in order, at least with these 2 books. I don't know about the rest of the series, but I'm having fun with it already. So this is a question I have for you actually. Would you class this as fantasy romance or just romance? Because this series is never in the fantasy section of Waterstones. It's always just in a fiction section, or maybe I've got that wrong. Maybe I'm thinking of another series. I don't know. See, to me, this is like fantasy romance, because we've got demons, we've got witches, we've got centaurs, we've got lots like pixies, we've got lots of different magical creatures in this world, and we've got the romance. But it is heavily romance based. It's not a fantasy world, like fantasy plotline. You have to help a girl out because I've got no idea. But for me, this is a romance book. I'm having a lot of, well, it is a romance book, but I just don't know whether to call it a fantasy romance or just leave it as this is a romance book. I don't know. I get really confused with all the subgenres and stuff of like, what do you fit in where? So for example, the reason why I'm finding this a bit confusing is because this book, The Secret Service of Tea and Treason by India Holton, has witches, pirates. It's definitely in like a fantasy world, but this is shelved in the normal fiction section of Waterstones and not with fantasy. And I'm like, these books are very similar in tone. They've got the same romance, they've got the same humorous tone to it. You have witches in both books. Like, so would they both be just romance shelved, or should they actually be fantasy romance because you have witches and things in them? I don't know. I get very confused, but the covers are very similar, which goes to me, I clearly like this sort of thing. I honestly never thought I was a romance girly, but apparently I really love romance when it's in situations like this. Contemporary romance we're going to move on to in just a second, because there's only one series that I actually would keep on my shelves. But yeah, okay, anyway, that was a tangent, but do let me know what you think, because I just don't know. I would say India Holton, again, is another like fantasy romance author, because her books are based on fantasy things, but it's not shelved in fantasy. It's weird. I don't know what to say, but yes, anyway, so I am starting Demon's Guide to Wooing a Witch. It's just under 400 pages long, but the text is actually really small, so it's probably going to take me longer than what I think to read. I would also love to say I'm going to get loads of this done today. That's probably not going to happen. Me and my partner are going shopping in central London. I just for literally a couple things that I want to get for the holiday. Tomorrow I'm going to be busy taking my cat to my mum's house, tidying up this place, and then getting ready to go. And I would say, oh, I'll read this on the flight. I'm not going to. It's a night flight. We take off at 9:50 of an evening. I'm sleeping. I'm 100% sleeping. I will probably be awake for like an hour or so, but in that time I'll probably be chatting with my partner and stuff, and then I'm going to be sleeping. And when we land, we have a stopover in Abu Dhabi, which their time is 6 in the morning, but for me it will be like 4 in the morning, and I am going to be hell on earth. I'm so grumpy and horrible when I'm tired, so I don't think I'm going to get much of this read at all. So I think my ambitions of what I want to bring on holiday is way bigger than what I'm actually going to be able to read. But we have this, and the other physical book I plan on bringing is Into the Dark by Magnolia Parks, which is the only contemporary romance that I own physically on my shelves that I've actually been interested in carrying on the series. And this is a series that I would say you need to read in order, because it does actually have an overarching plot. This is not a good book. You know, the writing style is not good, but there is something about it. The messy, rich people drama of it all, the incredibly toxic relationships, that I just eat it up. I just eat it up. I love it so much. So yes, I'm going to be bringing this one on holiday as well, but I'm going to be finishing off Demon's Guide to Wooing a Witch first, and then we'll get to this. What's probably going to happen is I'll probably start it in this vlog and then finish it in the next vlog, but you know, I might surprise myself with how much I end up getting read. But I also have an ebook that I'm bringing with me. I'm going to be bringing my Kindle with me on holiday as well, and the ebook that I want to be reading is Every Time I Go on Vacation Somebody Dies, which is going to be like a cozy murder mystery, which I'm very excited about. However, before I get to that, I do have an ebook I need to read for the cozy new releases video that I'm working on. So I want to get that one read first, and then I'll read the murder mystery one. So yeah, we're gonna see. Like I said, it's not actually loads, it's like 3 books, but in total the page count is like over 1,000. I think close to like 1,500 pages across the holiday. And like I say, I do have a couple busy days before I even get to go on holiday, so we'll see how much of this I actually get read. But yeah, okay, well that was a very rambly intro to this vlog. The next lot you're gonna see is probably just a bunch of b-roll of me getting ready, being at the airport, that sort of thing, and I will probably update you next when I actually land in the Maldives. Well, when we're settled in the hotel. Like, let's face it, I'm probably going to nap first. That is the plan. I hope you enjoy this video. Please let me know if you've read any of the books that I'm going to be talking about, and where do you stand on where we should put the books. Like, it's just a bit confusing for me. You know, maybe that's just me, maybe that's just because I haven't read much romance and stuff. Like, I don't know. Thank you for joining. I hope you're all doing really, really well, and let's cue to some b-roll. It is very hot and my hair is an actual mess, but we're going with it. The last few days have been busy, slightly chaotic, hence why this is the first time I'm updating. Actually, you know, before I talk about this, Monday was just a busy, hectic day, as we knew, but the actual, when it comes to the flight, the first part of the flight was actually really chill. I just slept, it was great, but we had to catch a second flight from Abu Dhabi to here, and the transfer time was ridiculous. We had to run. It was so silly. But we had 40 minutes from the time that the plane landed to when we had to catch our second plane, and yeah, it was intense, but we got here, we made it. I had the best paneer curry I have ever had. It was absolutely delicious. It was absolutely divine. It was the best thing I've had, and I really hope they have it again during the stay because I loved it. Reading wise, I did finish the ebook that I had to read for the other video, which is really good, so that's all done. I didn't mean to finish it all in one go, but that's what happened. But it was a good fun time, so that means that I can start the ebook that I want to read for this holiday, which is Every Time I've Been on Vacation Somebody's Died, something like that. Looking forward to that. I can actually start that today, so I'm really excited for that. But I have read a little bit more of A Demon's Guide to Wooing a Witch. Not loads considering how long it's been, what, a couple days, but we've got a good amount. I'm up to chapter 12, page 102, and this is just really fun. It's definitely romance but with a plot line, which I really like, so I would recommend actually reading these in order because the plot kind of carries on, like it's its own separate plot following our two characters, but it does link back to characters in the first book, which if you don't want spoilers, then definitely read these books in order. For me, it's doing a really good recap of all the information we need to know so that I don't feel like I'm missing anything, so I can follow along really, really well, which I really appreciate. But basically, since Calidea has saved Astaroth, we now have the fact that they need to try and figure out a way to stop Moloch the demon coming after them. And she doesn't know how to do this, so she enlists the help of her friends, keeping very quiet about the fact that she's helping Astaroth because everybody hates him, gets a very set of like weird directions to this witch that can possibly help them from her best friend's great something grandparent. He's a really old warlock, like really, really old. But he gives some very weird directions and he's like, hey, part of figuring it out is part of the journey, enjoy it. It's kind of reminding me like a hippie granddad, you know? Yeah, so now they're off on this quest to find this other witch to try and help, and I can't wait for the romance side of this to really kick off because we've seen the two. I like the fact that it's slow burn, the fact that we're 100 pages in and nothing's even happened apart from Astaroth going, damn, she's got good thighs, which is just hilarious. Because Astaroth's lost his memories, he has no idea why she's so angry at him. All he's just like is like, hey, you're fiery and I like it. And it's so silly. Whereas Calidea is like, I hate you, stay away from me. But also you're kind of charming and funny. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that progresses, especially because they're going camping now, which I agree with Astaroth's take on camping and how that is not the one. Can agree with that. They're going off camping, very excited to see how that goes. That's where I left it, is where they just found somewhere to camp down for the night. So I'm expecting that this is going to get very fun. So I'd like to read some more of this today. I would also like to read the ebook, but obviously I also want to enjoy being on holiday and exploring and all of the rest of it. So we're going to get lots of b-roll of just beautiful things about this because this is honestly, the water is so crystal clear that even on the walk up to the room you can just see little fish swimming around and it is just wonderful. So the next thing you'll see is a room tour and then whatever I get up to, and I will just update when I've actually got a good amount to talk about. We'll see how much that's going to be. I don't know how long this video is going to be because yeah, I just don't know. We'll see what I get through. But this week is the week of romance and murder, and I am very happy with that combination, especially because the next physical book after this, as we know, is another romance book. So romance murder holiday sounds really good to me. I need to stop waffling. I need to actually get on. This is the second time I've tried filming this, so I'll catch up with you soon. Okay, quick room tour time. When you come through the door to the right, we have the bathroom. It is absolutely lovely and the shower is amazing. We've got beautiful bedroom. Honestly, your standard bedroom. But the best part, the actual best part of this hotel is this. Look at this. This is absolutely amazing. So we've got an outside bath if you want to relax, and then we go straight down into the Indian Ocean. And honestly, this is worth every part of this holiday. Is just stunning, absolutely stunning. made some really good progress with both books, which has been amazing. Honestly, the last couple of days has just been a mixture of reading, relaxing, napping, plenty of naps, and also snorkeling, and the snorkeling's been so fun. We didn't realise that they were reef sharks right by us, so our room, when we go down into the ocean from our room, that part and up a bit further is full of sharks. I say full, there's a few, but it's so cool, it's so lovely. I love being able to see them, and they don't get too close, but definitely that one bit of footage that if you saw it in the b-roll, it wasn't that far away and you just saw it swimming in front, and I was like, oh, amazing. I'm really enjoying it. It's been so lovely, and definitely what I plan to do as soon as I've done this update. But let's get into it. So we'll start off with the good news. So I have made really good progress with A Demon's Guide to Wooing a Witch. I'm up to chapter 24, page 261, and honestly I would love to finish this today because there's only 389 pages, so I have 129 pages to go. I feel like I could get that done today, especially because we want to have more of a chill day. We're not doing that much today, as in not as much snorkeling as we did. So I'm planning to be able to get this one read because it's a really quick read, very easy to get into. We're at that stage now where their quest has started. They've had a few hiccups and things along the way. We've had some revelations. Some of them have been very expected, but I don't really mind that. Again, it's a romance book. I'm not in it for all the shocking twists and stuff. For me, I saw that coming, but it was absolutely fine. And we are at that point where our two characters are starting to kind of express their feelings one another a bit more, starting to gain that respect for each other, as well as doing a bit of self-searching and self-development, realizing things about themselves because of the other person, which I do like. It's very fun and cute. But yeah, this is very entertaining. I am really enjoying it, so that's really good. Having a lot of fun with that. But this book, every time I go on vacation there's been a murder, I'm not enjoying as much. I read a good chunk of this, mainly yesterday. I'm up to chapter 59, page 173. It says I'm about 44% of the way through. And I can say the whole point of what I knew about this book was that this was meant to be a case of, we have this author that's really fed up of Connor, who is, actually, have I even spoken about what this book is about? Basically, we've got this author who wrote a book because when she was on holiday at the age of 25, she got involved in this investigation of different bank robberies that were happening. It led to a murder investigation, and she was involved with this guy called Connor, wrote a book about it, changed everyone's name except his, ended up then having to pay out royalties and percentage of her upfront payout for writing the book and stuff, I can't remember the word for it all, to him. Otherwise he was gonna spill the beans, take it to court about using his name, as well as some other stuff that went on which we don't know about. So she's really fed up with it. Fast forward 10 years and she's just like, you know what, I've had enough. I want to kill off his character in my book. I'm so fed up with it. I don't want to have to keep paying out to him and him living off of my work. She has a lot going on, our main character. She doesn't feel like she's a good person. Very annoying to read from, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not really enjoying having her perspective because there's just so many things. Like, you get a lot of different stuff. You get a lot about her sister, the things that they've dealt with growing up. You get a lot about different romances. She's had 2 love interests and the way that they've all broken down and stuff, and it's very, I don't know, there's so much drama to it all, which is fine, except I was here for a murder mystery book because from what I knew about this book, the point was that she wanted to kill him off in her book, but he actually dies in real life. I'm 44% of the way through and that's not happened. So I'm just like, when is this going to happen? When are we going to get the murder mystery part? Instead, we've got this thing where Connor believes somebody is out to kill him and wants Eleanor's help to solve this, and so we're getting lots of like, oh, it could be any one of us because we all have our own reasons for wanting him dead, but there's nothing happening because he's not dead. And it's just like, but where is that point of it? For me, a whole point of having a murder mystery is that you have the murder happen and then you investigate the who done it, the why, and all of that, and we're not getting that. Instead, we're getting a potential murder and trying to sort of investigate things while also being annoyed and having lots of drama between this group of people that are together on this book tour. And I'm just like, but why? And also, something else that I'm not actually really liking about this book is it uses a lot of footnotes. Now, to be fair, it does say on like the 3rd footnote, you don't need to read these, they're not actually necessary. But me being me, I of course carried on reading them, but I can honestly say, yeah, why are they in there? Like, what is the point? You get things where they're like, oh, this character, well, think about this famous person and it would be like them. Except for me, I'm not interested in TV and stuff like that, so I've got no idea who these people are, and there is no way I'm going to go and Google it because I just can't be bothered. I prefer creating an image of them myself with the descriptions that are given. And also we get some stuff like, oh, this is a spoiler, or oh, this is foreshadowing, you should pay attention to this, and then chapters will pass and that's not come up, and you're like, what was the point? Like, seriously, what was the point? I'm kind of at this point where I'm like, do I keep reading because I'm not really enjoying this? Part of me wants to, because I want to see what the payoff is. Is there going to be a payoff for this book? But at the same time, I'm also like, but I'm not enjoying the character, I don't enjoy the writing style of this, and I'm not getting my murder mystery. So, you know, I mean, I can give books a lot of slack for a lot of things. Like, there are points in this book which are so easy and convenient, and I'm just like a bit eye-rolly, but I don't care because I'm having fun with it. The same with the next book I plan on reading in this vlog, which I can't show you because you're sat on it. But Magnolia Park, that's a terrible book. Honestly, the writing is awful and all of this stuff, but it's entertaining, so I don't care. This book, I don't have anything that I'm going, oh, I really like this about it, because I don't. And so I'm literally just trying to see, is it worth my time to carry on with this book, or do I just cut my losses? And I can't decide, because I know there's part of me that goes, I would not care if I never picked this book back up. But also, I'm like, I'm on holiday. It was the book that I was going to be reading on holiday. It's why I bought the Kindle version. I've taken it off my wish list because I'm like, I know I'm not going to want a physical copy of this book. But also part of me is like, well, maybe the second half of this book, something's going to happen and we're going to have an awesome plot twist, and then I'm going to be like, okay, I take it all back. But I think that's like a 5% chance at this rate, and I just don't know. So I think I'm going to focus on this one, read this, finish this, and then potentially read a bit more of this. If my partner ends up falling asleep earlier, I can read on my Kindle without disturbing him. So I may end up doing that. And if after that bit, 60 odd % of the way through, and I'm still not enjoying it, we're just gonna cut the losses and leave it. But yeah, a bit of a mixed bag, mixed update. But I think right now I'm gonna go for a little swim instead. So we're gonna go do that. I did finish A Demon's Guide to Wooing a Witch. I didn't finish it when I said I was gonna finish it. Instead, that day I read like 50 pages and then was playing Animal Crossing, and it was great. I loved it. We all know I love that game. Like, it's just so relaxing and so fun. But yeah, so that was really nice. Spent a couple of hours playing on Animal Crossing instead of finishing this, but I did finish it yesterday. I'll say, you know what, I really enjoyed this. It does get quite spicy, so just bear that in mind if you don't like that in your book. My only real thing about this ending was that it was really rushed. It felt like a lot happened in that last little segment of the book, and I feel like it was a really good plot line. I really liked what it was doing, which obviously I won't get into, but I thought it was really nice. I liked the concept of it all. However, this did feel very, very rushed towards the end, and it did feel like suddenly we were having this different like quest plot line. It then progressed into this more developed plot line, which I did like, but I feel like if we had spent an extra 50 pages on that, it would have been better for it, although it would have been a longer romance book. It still felt just a little bit too fast. Still enjoyed it. I still thought it was very good. Thought it was a lot of fun to read, and I will get the other books by this author. It was just very entertaining. Whether I decide, I'm thinking the first one I might just get on Kindle because I already know what happens in that one, so I think I'm more inclined just to continue on from this point and get the next one, which is about a werewolf and a vampire. A werewolf's guide to seducing a vampire. That sounds amazing, so I'll definitely pick up the physical copy of that. But I think the first one, because I already know what's going to happen, it does cover it very well in this book. And so apart from like all the little details, I'm not going to need to know loads about it. So I think it's more likely that if I saw that one secondhand, I'd probably pick it up then. But I think I'd rather just continue on and buy the next one. But yeah, this was really fun. You'll have to let me know if you've read any books from Sarah Hawley, what you thought of this series. It's fun, entertaining, a very easy read. So yeah, and I really liked how Calladea was as a character. She felt very herself, which I really liked, while also dealing with these other struggles and learning to accept herself. I just thought that was a really good storyline to have in there, and that exploration of learning to accept yourself and not changing yourself to fit other people's needs. It was really good. I really enjoyed that sentiment. So yeah, that was really good. I haven't read any more of Every Time I Go on Vacation Somebody Dies because, well, I just haven't wanted to. So yeah, I haven't read any more of that. I might end up picking it up a little bit, say like on the plane ride when we're coming back home. The plane journey is very early in the morning, so if they've got the lights down low, I might read on my Kindle then, but we'll see. I think we can all tell I'm not really feeling it, but I don't think I'm going to read any more of it in this vlog. It's just a shame about this book because I was really expecting more of a murder mystery, and we know that it just for me hasn't really delivered on that, which is a bit of a shame. But yeah, so I don't think you're going to see it again in this video, but I have started the chunker, which is Magnolia Park's Into the Dark. This is 708 pages. Will I get it done? Probably not. Honestly, probably not, because I'm planning to wrap up this video tomorrow to then start next week's vlog, because tomorrow's our last day here anyway. So we're gonna see how much of this I actually get read. Today we're planning to have just a pool day, just chilling out, so I'm gonna be bringing this with me to the poolside. Probably gonna get quite a bit of reading done at that point, but how much? Guess we'll find out. What I would really like to do, I mean, I'll probably mention this in next week's vlog anyway, but get this one finished by Tuesday evening. That would be lovely, because then I'm on track for the rest of my reads for the month. We'll see if that happens. But in this video, we're just going to see how far I get into it. But so far, I'm up to chapter 10, page 98. And you know what? I've said it many times. This is not good writing. This is not a series I'm going to recommend to people unless you are a romance reader or you just really like messy drama books, because that's what this is. So in this one, we're following Magnolia Parks. This is the 5th book in the series, although the 3rd book of following Magnolia Parks' story. And she has this very, very toxic relationship with a boy called BJ, or Baxter James. They have been honestly on again, off again, doing all sorts of things to make each other jealous, and it is the worst relationship. And even Magnolia in this book says we are not a template for anybody's relationship, because at least she can acknowledge how toxic this is. They've been through a lot together, all sorts of different things. But when we first meet them in the first book, they're not currently together. He is someone that goes around sleeping with loads of girls to make her jealous, and she goes around having loads of boyfriends, flitting from boyfriend to boyfriend to make him jealous. However, at the end of the day, they still come back and sleep together every night. Just sleeping, but that's what they do because they do love each other. They just can't be together for various reasons, and it's a mess, an absolute mess. The plotline develops a lot more than that. There's lots of different threads that come in, and at the end of the third book, there really is this just heartbreaking moment for Magnolia, and this fifth book takes place, I think it's about 3 months after the event of the third book, and it's been really sad because this one deals with a heavier topic, and I like the way it's dealing with it. I think it's done honestly quite well in the messy drama way, and in this book you do get two perspectives. You always do in the series. So the Magnolia Parks books, you'll get a perspective of Magnolia Parks, and then also Baxter James, so BJ, and then in the second and fourth book it's the Daisy Hates books, which follow Daisy Hates and a guy called Christian. And those books, the second book takes place at the same time as the first book, but you're just seeing it all from Daisy Hates' perspective. And it's this group of people that are all kind of interconnected in different ways. Some of them through family ties, some of them through friendship ties. They're very elite society. It is really messy, really vapid. Magnolia is definitely someone that will turn her nose up at a lot of things and be like, oh, but poor people do that and we're not poor. Honestly, some of the things she says is just a little bit ridiculous, but it's also really funny and entertaining. As much as this is 700 pages, I can't imagine it taking me loads of time to read because it is such an easy read. You really don't have to focus on this book. You also get moments of text messages as well, so that makes it a little bit quicker. So this is just a book that I don't really know why I get so obsessed with it, but I do, and it's just a fun, messy time, and that's all I've got. But my partner is waiting, so let's go chill out by the beach, read some, well, poolside, also on the beach, you know, just have a nice little relaxing reading day and go from there. Few days. I am now back home. I got home yesterday evening, but it was quite late yesterday evening and I was absolutely shattered, so I just thought, you know what, I'm just gonna wrap it up today. I did mean to wrap up this vlog earlier while I was still on holiday, but it just never happened. It just didn't happen, and that's fine. But it means I have quite a bit to update you on, because the last time I spoke I had just started Magnolia Parks and I was going to be having a relaxing poolside day where me and my partner just planned on chilling. I was going to be reading, he was going to be playing games and stuff. It was going to be a really nice time, and that's exactly what happened. And after that one day at the pool, I got over halfway through this book, and then over the last couple of days, mainly yesterday on the plane, because it was a daytime flight, so I had a lot of time to just sit and read, and I finished out this book completely, which I'm very impressed with. I did get it done exactly in time for what I wanted, for me to be able to finish out my TBR for the month, all things going well. I have a lot to talk about this book. So let's just talk about the fact that, first of all, this was a really easy book to read while I was on holiday. I'm really pleased that's when I read it. I think if I'd read it at any other time, I just wouldn't have been as invested. It would have taken me a lot longer to read. But as it was, this was such an easy kind of airheaded read that I just didn't need to focus on it. So that meant I could just relax by the poolside, pick up this book, chilling out in the sun, reading this, and you know, if we wanted to go off and do something suddenly, I could just easily put it down. It didn't matter if I was in the middle of a chapter or anything, because you just didn't need to pay that much attention to this book. But I have a lot of criticisms, especially about this one. From what I know, this was originally indie published and then it was picked up by a publisher, and I feel like, especially in this book, the editing team just kind of dropped the ball a bit, because there were so many sentences in here which should have been edited better because they just didn't make sense, or there were misprints of words, or things weren't just grammatically correct, and it was a lot more noticeable, I feel, in this one than the others. That could just be because it's been a while since I've read the other ones, but I feel like because this is such a long book, it was really easy to pick up on all the repetitions of the exact same sentences in this book. The fact that the same reactions to things would play out the exact same way each time, the fact that this was so long and it was so unnecessarily long. Honestly, this just needed tightening up. Like, do I expect this to be the best thing ever? No, but I do think this has been my least favourite out of the series that I've read, and I was coming into this expecting quite a bit because of where it left off. It does a look into grief, how it's affecting Magnolia, the different ways that grief can manifest, and how it affects not just yourself but others around you while you're in your grief. And you know, that I thought, yeah, okay, good, we're looking into that, got a bit of depth to it and stuff, but it was just so, I don't know, there was a lot of this that I just feel like was just a lot of filler, didn't really need to be in here. So yeah, unfortunately for me, it just wasn't the one. But I do stand by what I said, that it was a really fun read and it worked for what I wanted while I was on holiday. I'm still interested in reading the next Daisy Hates book, just because I actually prefer the Daisy Hates books. I prefer following her as a character, but from where this left off, it looks like this is going to be the last Magnolia Parks book potentially, and it all did kind of, well, I don't want to give anything away for anyone that is going to be reading this book. It was okay. I just think the last bit of this was so drawn out in the certain things that were happening that I'm just like, yeah, okay. I did kind of get a bit fed up with it, but it was still a fun, light, entertaining enough read. I just started, I think because I was reading so much of it in such a short amount of time, I was really picking up on all of those repetitions. So like, for example, every single time these characters talk to one another, you will have, they pinched their eyes all the time. Constant. It is a constant thing that is said. You also have, they drew their head back every single conversation, which, you know, there's a lot of conversations in this. So it pretty much felt like it was every page. And then sometimes it was like, I drew my chin down to my chest and I spoke like this. And I'm like, that's just weird. Like, there were just certain things, but like, they would be key staples that the author, Jessa Hastings, uses to say when they talk. There was a lot of that. I knew going into this was a car crash of a book, but I think I can happily say that I would probably not bother buying Daisy Hate, as in like buy the physical copy, maybe pick it up on just Kindle and give it a read that way, and then decide whether I actually want to have a physical copy of it, because I know I'm probably not going to reread this one, so I'm probably going to end up unhauling this book. But it worked really well for my holiday. So I'm still really pleased that I've read it. I'm still really happy that I took it on holiday, because I do feel like this is kind of like the sort of book I want to bring on holiday, which is just an easy, fun read. Really don't have to focus too much on it because I'm trying to enjoy my holiday, but I've got something light and breezy that I can just, as I've been saying, pick up, put down, get on with my day, do other things, but can always come back and read to it if I want to. So it worked for the holiday. That I'm pleased with. But we are back home, so let's do a recap. Oh, actually, yes, also part of the recap, but every time I go on vacation somebody dies. I've read a little bit more of this because I was getting really tired on the train ride home and I didn't want to fall asleep, so I was starting to read a bit more. I'm now 58% of the way through, page 231. I'm in the middle of a chapter, couldn't tell you what chapter. Still no one's died, and I'm just like, really? And I just don't think I want to continue this anymore. Like, I didn't on holiday. From when I last said about it, I never continued on, I never picked it up. I only read a few chapters to keep myself awake on the train, and I'm just not interested in this book in the slightest. Like, it's just not gripping me. The writing style is one that I don't get on with, and the main character herself is just really irritating and annoying, and I'm assuming that they're meant to be that way. I'm just like, I wanted a murder mystery to take on holiday, and this sounded like it would be a really fun murder mystery that every time I go on vacation somebody's dying, and I write murder mysteries as a living, but can people stop dying on me when I'm on holiday, like a fun thing? But instead it's just not that. it's this drama between this group of characters that are all in the publishing industry. Lots of reasons as to why they would kill Connor, there's lots of reasons as to why they would even kill Eleanor, and you know, there's these potential accidents that may not be accidents, that might actually be people trying to kill them, and yet nothing's actually happened. So I'm just bored. I'm really bored, so I think this one's going to be a DNF. I'm not that interested in it. If I ever get the urge to pick it up again, I've got it on Kindle, so I can. Maybe if you've read it and you've finished it, you can tell me whether it's actually worth pushing through, but for me, I'm almost 60% of the way through this book. Nobody's died. It just doesn't work for me, unfortunately. So yeah, we're gonna leave that one. Oh, also, talking about publishers, I do want to say, when I'm talking about how I feel like Magnolia Park's Into the Dark should have been edited a bit tighter, I don't actually know how the publishing industry works like that. So I don't know if because Jessa Hastings been picked up by an actual publisher, whether they do actually then go through and edit the books and stuff like that. I don't know, but I just feel like it definitely could have done with a bit more tightening up. Just thought I'd put that out there. But right, and then the first book that I read for this holiday video that was actually my favourite book I read is A Demon's Guide to Wooing a Witch by Sarah Hawley, and I'm definitely going to be getting the third book, as I've already said, about the werewolf and vampire one. I may get the first one if I see it in like a charity shop or something, pick it up secondhand, and mainly because we already know everything that's going to happen in that plotline. I think it will be a fun read, but I think I'm more intrigued about the vampire werewolf situation than I am about the romance that we were hearing about that happened in the first book and this one. But this was really fun, really enjoyed it. It is kind of like the sort of romance that I enjoy. It's kind of like a rom-com but with like other stuff going on, you know, witches involved and different things. Like, again, you'll have to tell me what sort of genre you think this falls into. Would it be fantasy romance? Would it just be straight up romance? Like, I don't know. I have no idea where to categorize these sort of books, but I definitely do want to do a video probably in February to make it in time for Valentine's and stuff about different romance books like this that I actually really enjoy and would recommend. I've just no idea what sort of genre this sits in, really, subgenre it sits in. So yeah, so again, let me know if you know, or just let me know if you've read any of Sarah Hawley's books and what you think of them, because I really enjoyed this one. And like I say, don't do me and actually do read this in order, because this is a series you should read in order because of the way it spoils things and plot lines and stuff do develop them from one another. So definitely read it in order. But reading it out of order wasn't a detrimental experience to it at all. I actually found it really fine and fun and entertaining, as we know, because it's my favourite book of this week. So that's it. That's the end of the reading week. Well, it's been over a week now, but I've had an amazing holiday. It's been kind of chaotic with getting stuff ready and all the travelling and stuff, but while we were there, it was just so wonderful and relaxing. We saw so many different animals. It was amazing. I mean, we went snorkeling. Apart from the last 2 days, we didn't go snorkeling then, mainly because on the pool day, we actually got a bit sunburnt from going into the pool. We were not getting burnt from going into the sea, but somehow we got burnt from going into the pool. So anyway, we got bad. So the second day we were like, you know what, we're going to be smart and we're just going to have a chill day in the shade and not go out and kind of make that worse. But it was a wonderful time. We got to see so many different animals. We also got to do like this fishing trip as well that was included. Honestly, an interesting experience. Like I say, fishing is not for me, but it was really fun to see, and it was a night fishing, so it was beautiful. You saw all the stars and everything, like that was wonderful, and just some of the things that we saw were just amazing. And I think my favorite part was just being able to swim and having the reef sharks go by. It was just absolutely wonderful. Like, it was so magical and I loved it. It was really wonderful. Definitely a place I would go back to for just like a relaxation time, because that's literally all it was. Wonderful. But thank you so much for watching. You'll have to let me know, have you ever been to the Maldives? Is it somewhere that you want to go? Have you read any of these books? Please let me know, or just let me know what you've been up to in general. I love chatting with you all, and thank you so much for watching. I know I say it at the end of every single video and I say it several times, but genuinely it makes such a difference. Like, having you, whether you just silently watch or whether you're interacting and stuff, like, it's so lovely to be a part of this community. So thank you for making that happen. I think if you've made it this far, then definitely put a shark in the comments below. I'm forgetting my outro. It's been a while. If you have enjoyed this video, then do consider giving it that thumbs up, subscribing, commenting. Those 3 things really help this channel out. My social media links and anyone I've mentioned will be linked below for you. And I will, of course, catch you in the very next video.